Ever looked at someone's resume and just thought, wow, how did they do all that? Well, today we're doing a deep dive into the curriculum vitae of Dr. John Souza Jr. to really understand the blueprint behind a career that has had a truly massive impact. You know, a career like Dr. Souza's isn't just a list of jobs. It's really an answer to a much bigger question. So, how do you build a career that manages to heal, educate, and strengthen all at the same time? Let's dig in. All right, so let's start with where he is today, an assistant professor at the University of Hawaiʻi-Mānoa. But how he got there, well, that's the really interesting part. And it all starts with a pretty unique educational foundation.
Okay, this is fascinating. His journey doesn't actually start with psychology. It begins with a bachelor's in business administration. Then you see this very intentional pivot into a master's and then a doctorate in marriage and family therapy. Think about that for a second. That is a really powerful combination of skills.
So, with that educational background, the first major pillar of his career starts to take shape, the clinician. And we're not talking about just book smarts here. We are talking about more than 15 years of direct, in-the-trenches, hands-on clinical work. And you can literally see the evolution right here. He goes from being a practitioner to co-owning a private practice, and then moves into these really specialized roles like a primary therapist at Pacific Quest. He's even facilitating support groups for medical residents. Each step is clearly building on the one before it. And this just goes to show you the range he has. His work covers so much ground, from Minnesota all the way to Hawaii, and in all kinds of settings. We're talking community clinics, private practices, and even innovative outdoor programs for young adults. But his impact doesn't stop in the therapy room. Oh no, it expands into the second pillar of his career, the educator, which is all about shaping the next generation of therapists. Just look at this number for a second. Over 100 graduate students mentored. That's not just a number, that's a legacy. This isn't just about teaching a class. We're talking about direct, personal mentorship that shapes individual careers and, the entire field by extension. And when we say he's an educator, his classroom is truly global. Of course, he's got his main appointments in Hawaii and Minnesota, but look at this. He's also been guest faculty for universities in Kenya and Peru. That shows a real dedication to sharing knowledge across cultures and borders. So we've got the clinician and the educator. The third piece of this puzzle is the researcher. And the key thing here is that his research isn't just for academic journals that sit on a shelf. It's grounded in solving actual, real-world problems. For instance, check this out. This publication tackles what he calls the myth of independence, and it looks at how nature-based therapy can help young adults and their families. See? It creates this perfect feedback loop, directly connecting what he does in his clinical work to what he's studying in his research. And some of his research is a direct response to community crises. I mean, wow. After the Kilauea eruption in Hawaii, his work focused on finding tangible ways, like group sand play, to help elementary school kids who were displaced. This is what research in action looks like. His work also really champions health equity. This study is focused on a group that's absolutely vital but often gets overlooked, the diverse farmers of Hawaii. He's asking the important question, how do we make mental health care accessible and effective for every single person in our community? And that leads us right into the fourth and final pillar, the one that kind of ties everything else together, the community builder. This is where all that expertise from the clinic, the classroom, and the research gets put into action to create real, lasting change. Just look at his journey within the Hawaiian Islands Association for Marriage and Family Therapy. You can see a clear progression. This isn't just a one-off volunteer position. It's a deep, multi-year commitment with more and more responsibility, from secretary up to president, and now to legislative chair, where he's actually helping to influence policy. And his leadership goes way beyond just that one organization. He's a co-founder of advocacy groups and professional conventions, he's volunteered in disaster response with the Red Cross, and he's even chaired search committees at the university. Every single one of these actions is another thread weaving a stronger community. So here's the most important point, the big takeaway. None of these four pillars, clinician, educator, researcher, community builder, exist in a silo. They all feed into each other. The insights from his clinical work spur new research questions. The findings from that research make his teaching better, and all of that collective wisdom gets applied to build stronger community organizations. It's a brilliant reinforcing cycle. What we're really looking at here is a powerful blueprint for making a real difference. It's a model of integrated impact. So I'll leave you with this final thought. If we take this model, this idea of weaving together practice, research, and service, what other complex, huge problem facing our world could it help solve next?